Okay, so this is a very critical function of the course screen, which is to set up the prerequisites or co-requisites or advisories for a course. This is logic-based and syntax-based. And on campus here, your point person, should you have any questions about syntax programming, the best person to talk to would be Melissa Raby, who has done a great deal of comparable programming for degree audit using the same syntax. So to access the prerequisite screen for this course, we're going to go here and click on the microscope button. And what this is doing is showing you the requisites for the course. Requisites can include prerequisites, co-requisites, and advisories. And which is a really cool thing because in the past, advisories you couldn't even program them. So anyway, so what we see here is a preview of what the prerequisite is underneath this programming. So this is the first requisite, second requisite, third requisite. Courses can have many requisites, and sometimes those requisites are pairs of courses together. So if you can break down logic of a prerequisite as written on the course outline to make sense of what the logic is behind that requisite, you can go in here and write the programming in. Okay, so we are looking here at the screen and we want to drill into what appears to be the P for prerequisite of Math 104. It indicates that it's protected and that it's required and the timing is previous. This is the coolest new feature. This did not exist a few years ago. Anyway, so we're going to say, click on the one, or excuse me, we're going to click on this here. And what we're looking at is the overview of this prerequisite as written, and it's got it broken down into these annoying little white lines. We can get out of there, but we'll get there in a second. This is the narrative description of the prerequisite, and this is the shorthand I like to use so that when someone on the previous screen is looking at it, they get a summary of like, oh yeah, that's the prerequisite of Math 104. This indicates whether it is a required prerequisite or it's optional. So here you get recommended, or excuse me, required or recommended. Recommended is what we use for advisories. Required is what we use for prerequisites or co-requisites. So that's a very critical difference between the programming for each. And the timing is previous for this particular course, but you also have the option of saying concurrent or previous or concurrent. We struggled with our prerequisite enforcement at Modesto because some colleges see prerequisites as strictly before the course and then co-requisites mean at the same time as the course. But Modesto observed the definition that you can have a course taken previously or at the same time as the course that's being taken. So Datatel added this value for colleges like Modesto where this was an option. And then protect it, to be honest with you, I confess I don't exactly know what the protection feature does, but I think to the extent that it can't be overridden or something like that. Anyway, A&R, admissions and records might have more information on that. So I'm going to click here and go into the scriptwriting field. And this is where the programming gets written after you've written the logic. Fundamentally, what you need to know is you are going to type a pound sign. Right here it says take. But when you type the pound sign, it will convert to this word take after you're complete. And it's saying take Math 104, Math 2, Math 4, Math 6, Math 8, Math 12, Math 16, Math 17A, 17B, 18A, 18B, 18C, the AP 71 or AP 72. How is this logic working? What does this mean? Do the students have to take all of these classes? Well, you're going to be able to know that based upon the use of or. When you're writing the syntax, you tuck the or in at the very end of a series of courses to indicate an or relationship between all of these courses. So this single or right here means take Math 4 or Math 6 or Math 8 or Math 12 or Math 16 and so on and so forth. So know that. Here, you're also going to see this cryptic number behind these courses. This number is here when there are multiple versions of Math 104. This is telling the system to look for the student having completed this version of Math 104. Now, that doesn't mean literally that we as a college only want them to take a specific version of the course, but the Datatel wants to go find a specific version of the course. If the course has been set up properly and it's intended, all versions of 104 should be equated, which means that this is kind of a moot point. But that's what this number is. It's telling, look at version 71342 of Math 104. These courses down here, 17A and 17B, don't have those numbers, likely because they are the only iteration of those courses. So there's only one record that Datatel can look at to find that course. Hopefully that makes sense. Then minimum grade CR is what sets the grade parameter for the student who's completing the course. By putting this on here, credit is the default for A through C, and I think D as well. No, A through C, and is synonymous, includes both pass, no pass, or A through C for those courses. So there you have that, and then you just click Save out of it. Now it's better when you're actually writing this syntax to go in here and click on it, and I'm just going to do some editing here. Let's see what happens. Take C Math, and I'm going to do the pound sign like I told you before, and I'm going to put an and here, and let's see what happens. Oh, it took it. That's weird. Oh, sorry, I'm going to hit save. And I'm going to hit return. I added that and in there, and for some reason I think it took it out. Sometimes you're going to get very cryptic messages. There's going to say unexpected, comma, at something, something. It's going to give you some cryptic feedback. It's probably telling you that there's a minor keystroke it's taking issue with in your programming. But as you can see here, when I did that pound sign equals take. So this is a very crude introduction. I encourage you to talk with Alyssa, Heather Townsend, or call myself to learn more about this should you encounter any issues. And that is the prerequisite of Math 104. Oh, question that you may want to wonder is, well, at the prerequisite on the course outline says only take Math 104. Why are all these other courses here? Well, the reality is that the student may have taken higher level math courses. We do not want to block a student who's already bypassed the requirements for this particular prereq by saying you took this super aggressively difficult math class, but you haven't taken this easier math class here. We automatically write in those courses that are above the lowest course on the sequence in the prerequisite. So the math graphic should help you see that, for example, Math 104 is lower in rigor than Math 18C, Math 18B, etc. So we want to make sure that all of these are also implied by completion of Math 104. Save out of this particular requisite, and I want to show you this advisory. This A means advisory. Advisory is the Title V term for what we call recommended for success. I think back in the day, the colleges, both Modesto and Columbia, thought that it recommended for success was a little bit more student-friendly. I'm not sure that it necessarily has to be that phrase. There's probably room for saying it is strongly advised that students do X, but we're basically saying, you know, it'd be wise to do this before you take this course. You're gonna be more prepared, but they're not obligated to do that. So the functional difference of that is that when you set up the course, we put advisory, the enforcement is recommended, which means the students aren't blocked. They're just giving kind of a flag as they're going through the enrollment process. Timing is previous, and then it's the same syntactical rules. I'm realizing that I neglected to also explain this. This is what's called the print text, which is what students see on their end. Excuse me, sorry. So this is what they will read in terms of lay person language. Were this to be set up as a co-requisite, meaning concurrent or previous or concurrent, we change this convention to C, and we put the course there, and we put required, but the timing would be concurrent or previous or concurrent. So that's the major adjustment that you would have for co-requisites.